Fellow Mountaineers, before we jump into the episode, I want to invite you to check out a new show on YouTube. It's called The Bald and the Beard. No, this isn't your grandma's daytime soap opera. This is a brand new collaboration between me, the Beard, and Coos from Coos' Corner. We get together on Mondays. We're two voices, one mission, and we bring you raw, unfiltered takes on West Virginia sports, Big 12 chaos, and everything in between. If you bleed gold and blue, this is your front row seat. So grab your pepperoni roll, hit subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the show. You can check out our first episode that dropped today on Monday, November 3rd on Coos' Corner YouTube page. So check it out. And again, I hope you enjoy. Now let's get back to the episode.
We're back. Yes, yes, yes. Oh boy, that felt so good. Mountaineer fans, I cannot tell you how long it's been since we've had that feeling. And I know we defeated Pitt earlier this year, and that was an amazing feeling. But after what we've been through this season, going on the road, upsetting the number 22 team in the nation, I said it back after we beat Pitt, and I'll say it again. You know, for all you young lads, you keep hearing all these older millennials and boomers complain, and Gen X complain about, you know, what Mountaineer football used to be, the hard edge, you know, under the lights in Morgantown, all that stuff we keep talking about, that level, that bar that we have set for this program. You saw that Saturday at Houston. You start to see why we have so much high expectations for this program, no matter who the coach is. That kind of performance, what you saw against Pitt, what you saw against Houston, we saw that week in and week out for almost 6 years. It was hard-nosed, physical, high-flying football. And we got another glimpse of it on Saturday. And boy, man, what a load off the shoulders. I tell you what. And there's no turning back now. There is no turning back now. I will say this. I wouldn't say we put a target on our back by any means, right? There's still a lot of season left to go and a lot to improve on. But when you show fans what you're capable of, like we did against Houston, you can't go back. You can't go back to this offense that was so anemic. You know, you can't move the ball, you can't score, you can't do it. And I think Rodriguez even said that in his post game like locker speech to the team. Like, where was this the whole time? You know, kind of joking, but then he was like basically saying like, we can't go back. Right? This is the expectation now. You've set the bar for where we know you can play. And he'll be damned if you fall short of that every week. Now, that doesn't automatically mean it's a win every week. But you're not going to lay down. Not that they ever did, but I don't think you're going to see the same team that we saw the previous 5 weeks that just looked like they had no clue what was happening. Now, again, does that mean that equals wins? No, not at all. And just in case you're joining me, welcome to the Trust the Beard podcast. I got so excited to talk about Houston, I forgot to do all my intros. It's 7:45 in the morning, November, I believe we're on the 3rd at this point. Beautiful day in the Mountain State. Got my coffee next to me, and it's a great time to be a Mountaineer right now for the first time in a few weeks. And I have to say, again, what we saw out of our team on Saturday, that's what these old grads have been clamoring about for so many years, right? This is what we saw. When I was in college, this was the Mountaineer team we saw all the time. All the time. Now, again, it doesn't mean you win every single game, but there was very few blowouts, if I remember correctly. Some early on, you know, as you're getting your feet under you and understanding the scheme and all that stuff, but not many at all. And man, I don't know what else to say. It's like you're so excited you don't have the words, much like if you're so bummed and you look so terrible you didn't have the words. This team came together. They found a spark, and boy, I think we have a quarterback now. That's for sure. We found one in Scotty Fox, and I think he's going to be the resident quarterback from here on out. You may get something from the portal just to be a solid backup because, you know, players get hurt, things like that. But I'm going to say that moving forward, Scotty Fox is going to be the guy. He will be your first string that you tried out there. to start every game as long as he is healthy. He has showed amazing progress this season. Now, we all know what happened, his first time out against Pitt, threw 2 straight interceptions. He looked kind of lost. But Saturday, he maintained composure. And Rodriguez pointed this out, and I think this is an amazing thing to consider. None of his throws, I think it was Rodriguez. I can't remember who pointed it out. It might have been Chris and Mike. Scotty Fox's throws, there wasn't one of them where you're like, ooh, I wouldn't have thrown that. Oh, we got lucky that wasn't intercepted. If it wasn't there, no one was catching it. And I think that's a great point, is that in no time during this game did he put the game in jeopardy that I remember. Now, I didn't get to watch all of it. I had to go to my nephew's youth football game. They were in the championship. They lost in triple overtime, but it was a great game. But we got to listen to the entire, basically the entire second half on the way there on the radio. So I got to listen to Tony, which, that's a good consolation prize if you can't watch it. And which I'm going to sidebar here. ESPN and YouTube TV, I don't know who is at fault, but that's about the biggest shaft that you can give a fan base. So I forget, maybe in like April, May, I got rid of my cable and I got YouTube TV. At the time, it was cheaper. You got more options. I could watch more games, all that stuff. It was great. And then now this comes up with ESPN. They don't play anything that Disney owns or airs on Disney stations. So like, ABC, SportsCenter, ESPN, all that stuff. ESPN2, I can't watch. I can't watch on YouTube TV. And I got rid of my cable, so I can't watch it on regular cable. And also, I have the Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus bundle. But guess what? They only play games that are aired on ESPN. They don't play, or ESPN Plus. They don't play ESPN games or ESPN2 games. And so I watched Big Noon Kickoff on Fox. Thought it was a great show. And, it's unfortunate that you got to alienate your fan base like that. And I know why they do it. I mean, they're trying to get people to move over to Hulu because that's what ESPN has a deal with right now. And I kind of understand it, but you know what? I have Hulu, and I still can't watch the games because they only air ESPN Plus games. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's a different podcast for another day. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm so mad about that stuff, but it's hard to stay mad when you think about the team we might have right now in West Virginia. I didn't think I would see it this year. I really didn't. I didn't know if we would win another game. I didn't know if we would be favored in another game. And it turns out we are now favored against Colorado. I saw that at 5.5. I was so surprised. I mean, we got up 14-0, and I'm just sitting there like, what? Who is this team? I don't recognize this team. And it's like, I don't know what clicked for everybody. I don't know what had to happen. But it was like another team completely stepped off that bus. And I'm looking forward to hearing Jed and Tony, right? They kind of have the inside of what's going on as Tony's broadcasting the game. And Jed's on the sideline there in the locker room. So he kind of has a pulse on what's happening. So I'm really looking forward to hearing that. I don't know what else to say. Just wow. Just wow. And again, this is what we've been waiting for. And so moving forward, Scotty Fox is your guy. And then you think about the potential lineup for next year. I've seen that too. And I think we're going to hit the portal hard. It's amazing what one game can do to lift the spirits. Now you start thinking of all the possibilities, right? Because as a fan, you're automatically going to think, all right, this is who our team is now. Erase the previous 5 games where we were blown out. That's not that team. This is a different team now. And for 2 straight games, they've looked competent. So maybe it is the team. I don't see us falling back into the old ways of just not looking coherent. It's so good. It's such a good feeling. And so what does this mean moving forward? What does this mean for the program? Well, it means a whole hell of a lot if you ask me. Again, like I said, we're favored now at Colorado. We are still in contention for a bowl. And I'm just sitting there picturing like what could happen. So obviously we'd have to win against Colorado, which is a high probability now because they seem to be slipping. I think they've gotten blown out their last 2 games. And then we would go on the road to Arizona State. No easy task. They're playing pretty well they're playing pretty well right now. It's a hard place to go in and win. If we could accomplish that, if we could beat Colorado and then go out to Arizona and beat the Sun Devils, there's no doubt in my mind, no doubt that when we host Texas Tech, the last game of the season, that we could completely upset them. And that would make us bowl eligible, 6-6. And what a rewrite to the story that was going to be 2025. I mean, you think about, of course, back in September, we upset Pitt and all was right with the world. And then reality set in, and we got pummeled by, 4 of the best teams in the conference. And if we were capable of winning our last 4 games of the season to be bowl eligible, I mean, what a rewrite to the story. And I think we can do it. And I'll say it again, because it's worth repeating. When you hear all these old heads like myself and the fans that lived through the first Rich Rodriguez era, it may seem silly that all of a sudden we're like, oh, this team, we've done it. Here, we've turned the corner. This is it. When you look back at the previous 5 games, and you may think to yourself, well, that's just one win, right? We pulled it together for one win. We kind of know what this team is right now. I'm telling you, with Rich Rodriguez, when it clicks, it clicks. It doesn't. He doesn't allow them to go backwards. Now, again, does that mean we are going to have that performance every single week and it be a win? No. No. You will have some bad days, just like any other football team does. Just like the best football team in the world or franchise or program has bad days. It happens. But I'm telling you, we found something. Something clicked. And I'm telling you, that's not just going to go away. The players saw and experienced what it means to play with hard edge and never give up. And they just upset the number 22 team in the country on the road and really had their way with them offensively. There wasn't a time in that game. Well, I should say this. When it was tied at 14, when they came back, or tied it at 21, I was kind of like, okay. Like, we gave them a good fight, but it looks like they're clawing back. And then we would just keep scoring. We would just keep scoring again and getting turnovers. And at that point, I was like, we're probably going to win this game. Or if not, it's going to be really close. Like, I didn't see the team of old coming back and blowing this one. And I'm telling you, gang, young lads, this is what hard edge is. Week in and week out, this is what you are going to see with this team. And that's why I, and probably many others that experienced that time, Rodriguez's first time, are so confident now moving forward about this team, because that was what we were waiting for. I thought we had it at Pitt. We didn't. But this is a different team. You got to remember that too, right? That was the old the win against Pitt was Markio, right? It was I don't think we had Jaheim at that time. Clay Ash. Now we have Sincere Bowers. We have Dior Hubbard, and we have Scotty Fox Jr. So it is a different team, and it took some games for those guys to start clicking, and looks like they found it. And again, I'm telling you, when they find it, it doesn't go back. This was the turning point we were waiting for. And I think a lot of people get used to what Neil Brown was, where it was just mediocre. We heard things from the coach. Oh, we're going to start doing this. We're going to do this. And you just didn't see it. I'm telling you, with Rodriguez, when he says it, he means it. And I'm very confident that you will not see this team regress. This is that moment we were waiting for everything to click. And it finally did. And it showed us exactly what we had been waiting for. And you got to think, this is a group of young guys, inexperienced guys, and it finally came together. So I think we were just assuming, well, we're no good because we don't have the right talent. Well, let's get the talent in, and then we'll be good. Now, I'm not saying we're good right now. Like, we're still a 3-6 team. So, there's still work to be done. I'm not saying we've arrived with this team yet. But what does that tell you about the coaching? When you basically are putting together you almost have your second string out there in some regards, in major positions, at quarterback, at running back, more than second string. Some of them third string, right? Scotty Fox wasn't the starter. You assumed it was going to be Nico, and then it was Henderson. Some aspects, Scotty Fox was your third string quarterback. So it was Dior Hubbard behind Ty Edwards and Jaheim White. So what does that say about coaching? You have those guys coming in, filling in, and they look like that on Saturday. If our coaching staff, and by the way, the O-line got some tremendous grades from PFF. I don't have them. I saw them. I think our pass pro was like in the 80s for a lot of them. Like 4 out of 5, I think, was like in the 80s and 70s. That's really good. I think 60 is like average, I believe. So, above average on all that stuff. Which, again, if you had said that before Houston, I wouldn't have believed you. But again, what does that say about the coaching when you have your second, third string guys shuffling in and out all season, and finally it clicks and you can go out and beat a ranked team on the road with a good defense, right? I know there's been talk that this was kind of an overrated Houston team. Maybe they weren't as good as what their record had showed. And, I don't buy into that as much. I understand that, like, not all 7-1 teams are built equally, right? Some have harder schedules than others. I totally understand that. But the fact that they are 7-1 means that they're a good team. Maybe deep down they really should be a 5-3 team or a 6-2 team. But again, I will say this. I defend Willie Fritz in Houston like I did Neil Brown, and I will defend any coach, whether they're West Virginia or not. It's not the coach's job to make sure his opponent is ranked or is good or is prepared. His job is to prepare his team and win games. And that is exactly what Houston did 7 out of 8 times up to that point. So they are a good team. Way better than what we've seen out of our team. So it's not like they, it's not like they were 1-7 or 2-6 like us and we got the win. No, they had a top 25 defense. They were 7-1. They went out to Arizona State and beat them, which is a tall task. They were a good team. Willie Fritz is a good coach, So I don't completely buy that Houston is overrated. And maybe that's not the right phrasing. I think they're kind of saying like there's gaps, right? They can be exposed. And we certainly did that. And what's even better is with Houston's defense is their pass defense was highly rated. I didn't do a preview on it, but I had the numbers ready and I wasn't able to record. But their yards per play on defense was ranked like 25 or 21. They were certainly top 25. They were only allowing about 8 yards per pass, something like that, and maybe sub 8, maybe like 7.8 yards or something like that. But they were ranked in the top 25. So they weren't allowing a lot of passing yards. And we didn't get a lot, but I think Fox had like 153, I want to say 158 is what I remember. Again, I don't have any stats or computer. I'm just sitting on my couch just talking. So this is the beard from the couch. But he had his way with him. Scotty Fox did. Didn't have a lot of yards, but he was making throws, making plays with his legs. Obviously, the big run on 4th down, that was huge. I got to listen to that on the radio with Tony. That was an awesome call. That was fun to listen to. And so, moving forward, again, what this means for the program, it means everything for the program. If we can look back, next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, when hopefully, and I'm confident that we're just, atop of the Big 12 or at least in contention, say we're the next Cincinnati or BYU or Texas Tech. And I'm not saying like that dominant and talented, but just we're winning. We're playing really well. And in November, we're contending for a Big 12 title. If we can get to that point, we may look back on this game and say this is when it got turned around, right? I talked about before, we're waiting for that Pat White moment. And if you remember, if you're not familiar with that, in year 5 under Rodriguez the first time around, we were getting beat by Louisville like 24-0, 24-7 at the half. And then late into the fourth quarter, our starting quarterback got hurt, Adam Bednarik, in goes Pat White. And he had played before, so it's not like he was cold off the bench. But he and Steve Slayton took over that game, and that was the turning point. From that point on, I think we lost 3 games for the next 3 seasons. That may be off. It may be like 4 or 5. I can't remember the exact. But in 3 seasons, we lost at max 5 games. I don't even think that's right. I think we didn't go undefeated. I think we lost 1 game that year, or from that point on. Obviously, we lost to Pitt. We lost to South Florida. We lost to Louisville in 2006. So, yeah, it might be 3 games. From that point, from Louisville 2005, I think it was like Game 7. From that point on until Rich Rodriguez left in 2007, we lost 3 games. And we may look back again on this Houston game and say that's when it was turned around. That's when we found our Pat White and Scotty Fox. Now, I'm not comparing him as far as like their talent level and what they are going to accomplish here. Maybe he does more. Because Scotty Fox could throw the ball. And not that Pat White couldn't throw the ball, but it wasn't his strong suit. He was fast as lightning. He ran like a deer, and he just outrun everybody. That was Pat White's superpower. Now, when he had to throw, he could throw, but he wasn't a polished passer. Scotty Fox is, and he's athletic. So he may accomplish more than Pat White. Certainly not in the realm of like BCS bowls, because obviously we don't do that anymore. But as pure numbers, maybe awards, who knows? He definitely has the talent base to lead this offense to good things. And I know this is going to sound so crazy that I'm talking like this all of a sudden after 1 win, right? We saw 5 horrendous losses in a row. And now all of a sudden after 1 win, it's like, man, the sky's the limit. But that's what hard edge is. That's what the Rich Rodriguez era is. And it happened the first time. And hopefully it's happening this time, where there is a turning point where everything that he pours into them, the hard edge, the discipline, the never stop, the never quit, just out physical everybody, the extra air in your helmet and tie the laces up tighter, all that stuff. There's a time when it all just clicks and everyone gets on board and everyone starts moving in the same direction. And it's poetry in motion. And what we saw at Houston was a glimpse of that. And again, I don't believe that we're going back. I believe that is a turning point. And so we'll just have to see. But I'm going to close this up. I've been rambling on for a half hour now about nothing. It seems like this was just kind of an excitement fan perspective. I didn't have a lot of stats. I'll do all that stuff later this week. I'll break down West Virginia and Colorado. Should be interesting. I think we can win. Colorado does have a pretty decent offense. So I know our defense has some work to do. We did win, but we gave up a lot of big plays. Luckily, the turnovers was the great equalizer, and that's what kept us in the game. You can't always rely on that. I know that's something that Zach Alley preaches and something that we've done well this season is force turnovers. But you can't always guarantee you're going to get 4. I think that's what we had against Houston. And so we have our work cut out for us, no doubt. It's not going to be easy street from here on out. But we are now up to the level of our competition, what we saw on Saturday. If we can play like that every game, there's no doubt that we could go bowling this year. Because the difference between a Rich Rod team and just a regular, we'll call it a Dana Holgerson team that's explosive. Heck, I'll even say a Neil Brown team, who I still think is a good coach and knows his stuff offensively. I don't doubt that. But our teams under him didn't have that X factor. Same with Holgerson. They didn't have that X factor, which is what Rich Rodriguez brings. That hard edge is that you are going to play harder, you're going to be more physical, you're going to be out or more conditioned than your opponent. And when you get into the third and fourth quarter, that shows up. And that's things I think that Holgerson and Brown just didn't have. And that's why we never got over the hump of about 8 wins, 9 wins with Neil. Now, I know we did with we had that 10-win season later in Holgerson's career with Skylar Howard. But we had a great defense that year too. But anyway, that's the difference maker, is we are bringing a physicality that these other teams have not seen and maybe not prepared for. And ultimately, when the stakes are high in a Power Four league like this, and everyone has talent, and the margins are small, the margin for error is very slim, this is what makes the difference, that hard edge. And so hopefully we have it now. I think we do. I think we're going to look back and say this was the turning point. Now, again, that doesn't mean we're going to win out. It doesn't mean we're even going to beat Colorado. But I guarantee we will be much, much more competitive in each one of these games. I think we have raised our level to meet at least the minimum required to compete week in and week out. Right? We weren't doing that before. We were just getting blown out. Didn't look like we could do anything. And so moving forward, I'm excited. I'm going to the game this Saturday against Colorado. Should be a good one. If you are going, please drive safely. Enjoy this week, Mountaineers. Savor this victory. And hopefully there's many, many, many more to come. I believe there is. I think this was just the shot in the arm that we needed for this program. And so it was a long time coming, right? We got this in game 9? It's all right. Better late than never. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for all the support, likes, the follows, the shares, the subscriptions. Enjoying doing this. It's always a lot of fun to talk about Mountaineer football. But remember, hype fades, stats speak. Goodbye, God bless, go Ears.